He was just a single dad grabbing groceries with his daughter. But when he heard a bully mocking a shy girl in aisle 5, he didn't stay silent. He stepped in. What he didn't expect, that moment would change his life. Because the girl he defended wasn't ordinary, she had a secret. And her bodyguard was waiting with a jet. Saturday mornings were sacred to Jake. He worked construction all week and lived for the weekends with his daughter, Leela. She was 9, sassy, and the only reason he smiled lately. After losing his wife to cancer 3 years ago, Jake poured every ounce of love he had into raising their daughter. That morning, they were in the cereal aisle of Milltown Market. Leela was inspecting every box like it was a work of art. Jake stood with the cart, checking his list, when he heard it. "Why are you dressed like that? You look like a garbage bag in a skirt." The voice was sharp. "Mina girl, maybe 12 or 13, Jake turned. A young girl stood near the end of the aisle, clutching a notebook to her chest. Her clothes were simple but neat, a gray cardigan, pleated navy skirt, black tights. Nothing wrong with it, but the two girls facing her were laughing, pointing. Jake hated bullies. He knelt next to Leela and whispered, "Hang on a sec, okay?" Then he walked over. "Hey," Jake said, loud enough to stop the giggles. The two girls turned, caught off guard. "You think it's cool to gang up on someone in a grocery store?" he asked, calm but firm. They stared. "She didn't do anything to you. You don't like her outfit, keep it to yourself. You don't run the world, sweetheart." One of the girls muttered, "Whatever," and they both stomped off. Jake turned to the girl they had bullied. She looked stunned, wide-eyed behind silver-rimmed glasses. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "Thank you, no problem. I'm Jake. What's your name?" "Amelia." Then came a voice behind them. "Ma'am, your jet is ready." Jake turned. A man in a tailored black suit stood just a few feet away, earpiece in his ear, sunglasses on indoors. He was looking directly at the girl, Amelia. Jake blinked. Leela walked up and stared at the suited man. "Daddy, who's he?" Amelia looked a little embarrassed. "That's my bodyguard." "Bodyguard," Jake repeated. Amelia gave a tiny shrug. "My family owns some companies." Jake laughed awkwardly. "Okay, sure. Let me guess, your dad runs the corner gas station?" "No, Whitaker Group." The name hit Jake like a truck. Whitaker Group, the global conglomerate that owns shipping lines, software companies, media empires. The kind of company people whispered about. Jake suddenly remembered seeing the CEO, Eleanor Whitaker, on the news. Widowed, extremely private, one daughter. "Wait," he said. "Are you her?" Amelia nodded. "My mom thought I should go out without staff today, just for once, but she sent Leo anyway." The man in black gave a curt nod. Jake didn't know what to say. Jake thought that would be the end of it. But that evening, a sleek black car pulled up to his modest rental home. Leo stepped out. "Miss Amelia has invited you and your daughter to lunch tomorrow." Jake stared. "Why?" "Because you stood up for her when no one else did." Leela was bouncing in the doorway. "Can we go, Dad, please?" He hesitated. This was way above his world. But something in Amelia's eyes had haunted him all day, a quiet loneliness he recognized. "Okay," he said. Lunch. They were driven to a massive estate outside town. Gates taller than their house, a driveway longer than a football field. Inside, everything gleamed, marble floors, glass chandeliers. Staff in uniforms. Amelia met them in the garden. She was smiling shyly, wearing a sundress this time. "Hi, Jake." "Hi, Leela." They sat under a pergola while servers brought food Jake couldn't pronounce. Amelia turned to Leela. "Do you like art?" Leela nodded. "I love drawing." Amelia lit up. "Me too. I have a studio. Want to see?" Jake watched the girls run off, surprised by how quickly they clicked. Eleanor Whitaker appeared a moment later. "You're the man who defended my daughter," she said simply. Jake stood awkwardly, just didn't like seeing a kid get bullied. "Most people look away. You didn't, thank you." She studied him. "You're a single father. Construction worker, steady record, clean life. You looked me up?" Of course, Jake didn't know whether to be flattered or creeped out. Eleanor got to the point. "Amelia doesn't trust people easily, but she likes your daughter. And she trusts you. I want that to continue." "What does that mean?" "I want to hire you as her security liaison." Jake blinked. "I build houses. And you build trust with my daughter in 30 seconds. That's harder." He shook his head. "That world's not for me." She leaned in. "Jake, Amelia doesn't need more guards. She needs people who see her, who care." "You did," instantly. "That matters more than training." Jake looked across the garden where Leela and Amelia were laughing over a sketch pad. "Can I think about it?" "Of course." But they both knew something had already changed. Jake accepted the offer. It wasn't overnight. He spent 2 weeks wrestling with it, juggling construction jobs and fatherhood, and wondering if he was really ready to enter a world of jets and boardrooms and bodyguards. But one night, as Leela slept with a half-finished drawing of Amelia on her lap, he realized this wasn't just about him. It was about giving his daughter a chance to see a bigger world, one filled with more than scraped knees and grocery store coupons. His first day as Amelia's personal liaison was surreal. His job wasn't security in the traditional sense. It was presence, connection, helping Amelia navigate a life no 12-year-old should carry alone. He accompanied her to elite schools, sat through etiquette classes, helped her rehearse speeches. And he was there when she cried after a boardroom full of executives dismissed her as just a kid during a leadership showcase. He didn't give her advice, he gave her space. And she came back stronger, but privilege comes with danger. Months into his new role, Jake began noticing things. Unmarked cars idling outside the Whitaker estate. Envelopes with no return addresses, Amelia growing quieter, more guarded. Eleanor called a late-night meeting. Someone's watching her, she said. Trying to intimidate, we don't know who yet. Jake's protective instincts roared awake. They upgraded security, changed routes. Jake stayed even closer. He started sleeping at the estate with Leela in a guest house across the rose garden. One night, Amelia came knocking, her hands trembled. Someone had left a note in her backpack. Your father made enemies, they never forget. Jake read the note, then he made a vow. No one would hurt her, not on his watch. A week later, Eleanor decided to fly Amelia overseas until the threat was contained. Jake, come with her, she said, Layla too. We'll keep her enrolled in a school abroad. It's safer. Jake hesitated, leaving home, his job, his roots. But then Amelia looked at him and whispered, please, don't let me go alone. That's how Jake found himself standing on a private tarmac, Leela at his side, watching Amelia board the Whitaker jet. Mr. Dalton, the pilot said, welcome aboard. Jake took a deep breath. He wasn't just a single dad anymore. He was something else, a protector, a mentor. And maybe finally a part of a family again. Paris was supposed to be a safe haven, but it didn't feel that way. From the moment they landed, Jake sensed unease. The estate the Whitakers owned outside the city was magnificent, yet it felt more like a fortress. Security patrols, cameras, panic buttons. Jake took walks with Amelia in the gardens. Sometimes they talked, but more often they just existed together, a silence between them that wasn't awkward, it was survival. Then, one rainy evening, a black SUV followed them on their route to Amelia's new school. It didn't try to approach, just stayed 3 cars behind. Jake reported it immediately. By nightfall, Eleanor was on a video call. We have confirmation, she said, her face grim. It's him, Victor Savell. Jake knew the name, ex-Whitaker partner turned rogue. Fired after embezzlement, rumored to have ties to criminal arms networks. What does he want? Jake asked me, Amelia whispered. He wanted control of the company, and when my dad died, he thought I'd be the weak link. But you're not, Jake said, his voice low. You're the strongest link. Eleanor made a call to a trusted security firm. Reinforcements were flown in. Digital sweeps, facial recognition, surveillance. Everything short of going underground, but Amelia had another idea. He's watching because he thinks I'm scared. What if we make him think I'm not? Jake looked at her. What are you saying? I want to go public, on my terms. Amelia proposed doing a press interview, just her. A declaration that she wasn't a pawn, that Whitaker Industries was not for sale. That she was the heir and she wasn't running. It was bold, risky, maybe reckless, but Eleanor nodded. She's her father's daughter, she said. Let's do it. The interview was held in a secured studio in Geneva. Jake stood just off camera with Leo. Leela sat beside a producer, watching with wide eyes. Amelia spoke clearly, calmly. I am not afraid of Victor Savell. I am not alone. And I will not back down from the responsibility I've been given. The clip went viral overnight. Tens of millions of views, headlines across the world. Praise from business leaders, support from people who had no idea who she was the day before. Jake watched Amelia walk off the set like she'd just stepped off a battlefield. She came straight to him. Did I do okay? She whispered. Jake smiled. You did amazing, kid. She leaned into him, briefly, and Jake realized it was the first time she'd ever hugged him. A week later, the trap was sprung. Interpol had tracked Savell's men to a villa in Corsica. The Whitaker legal team used the interview's impact to rally international support for his arrest. Jake insisted on accompanying Eleanor and Amelia to the final meeting with the security team. It was quiet, too quiet. Until it wasn't, a drone flew over the estate. Shots were fired, warning shots from a distance. It was enough for Interpol to move in. It ended in hours. Savell and his inner circle were arrested without a single casualty. The network fell apart like a house of cards. The threat was over. 6 months later, the Whitaker estate in the States was full of life again. Amelia, older in her eyes but brighter in her laugh, ran through the garden with Leela. Jake now worked as head of personal affairs for the Whitaker family, officially. Unofficially, he was still just Jake, the guy who noticed the girl in the grocery aisle. Eleanor approached him as he watched the girls. "She calls you her anchor," she said softly. Jake looked at her. "She doesn't need one anymore." "She always need you," Jake nodded, unsure how to respond. Then Leela ran up, Amelia close behind. "Dad, can we paint in the studio?" "Go ahead," he said. As they skipped off, Eleanor turned to him. "You've changed everything, Jake." He smiled. "No," he said, "she changed me." 1 year later, Jake stood in front of a classroom of underprivileged teens, telling them the story. He ended with this: "Don't assume the world is small because your street is small. And don't ever look away when someone's being hurt. Because one moment of kindness can change every life in the room." Behind him on the wall, a photo of Amelia and Leela laughing under a jet engine, the caption, "Day 1 of Forever."